In the heart of the 20th century China, a man rose from the rural fields to become one of the most influential and controversial leaders in modern history. His name, Mao Zedong. The world would come to know him as Chairman Mao. Before Mao Zedong, China was a nation in turmoil, grappling with foreign invasions, internal strife, and desperate poverty. Amidst this chaos, Mao emerged, promising a revolutionary path to a new egalitarian society. However, as his red banners fluttered across China, the question lingered: was Mao a hero who uplifted the masses, or a tyrant who led his people through waves of untold hardships, famine, and unprecedented upheaval? On this episode on the Before Now channel, we'll be covering never-before-told facts from the life of the divisive communist leader who united China as we know it today. If you want to see more videos like these, like this video and subscribe to the Before Now channel. You can also let us know the next historical figure or event you'd like us to cover in the comments section below. Mao Zedong was born on December 26, 1893, to a stern father and a devout Buddhist mother. Despite the rigid discipline of his father, Mao's early years were filled with voracious reading and a burgeoning political consciousness, sparked by the works of both Chinese and Western thinkers. At age 13, rejecting the arranged marriage imposed by his father, Mao's defiance marked the beginning of his rebellion against traditional norms. Mao's teenage years were shaped by his exposure to revolutionary ideas in Changsha, where he was captivated by Sun Yat-sen's republicanism and the fervor of the Xinhai Revolution. He cut off his queue pigtail, a symbol of imperial subservience, and joined the rebel army, albeit without seeing combat. This period ignited his passion for political change and laid the foundation for his future revolutionary path. As the Republic of China was established, Mao continued his political education, dabbling in socialism and remaining deeply influenced by the socio-political upheavals around him. His journey from a peasant background to becoming a soldier in a revolutionary army foreshadowed his rise as a formidable leader who would eventually reshape China. In 1919, Mao Zedong moved to Beijing, where his mentor secured him a job at Peking University. Under the guidance of Li Dazhou, a prominent Chinese communist, Mao's radicalism grew, influenced by Marxist teachings and anarchist ideas. Despite living in cramped conditions and being snubbed for his rural background, Mao thrived in the intellectually stimulating environment, joining various societies and attending lectures by leading thinkers. By 1921, Mao had become a significant figure in the Chinese revolutionary movement, helping to establish the Chinese Communist Party. His organizational skills and commitment to education and labor rights laid the groundwork for his future leadership. As he navigated alliances with the Kuomintang and deepened his Marxist beliefs, Mao's early experiences in Beijing and Changsha set the stage for his rise to power via the First and Second Civil War. In the summer of 1927, amidst Chiang Kai-shek's Northern Expedition victories, he turned against the communists, triggering the White Terror. Shanghai witnessed a massacre of 5,000 communists by the Green Gang, while in Beijing, 19 communist leaders were executed. By May, tens of thousands had perished, severely weakening the CCP. Mao Zedong, once a supporter of the Wuhan KMT government, shifted as the KMT expelled communists. Mao rallied remaining forces and formed the Workers' and Peasants' Red Army. Led by General Zhu Di, they seized Nanchang on August 1, 1927, but were soon forced into retreat in Fujian. Mao's autumn harvest uprising in Hunan faced betrayal and resistance, retreating to the Jinggang Mountains with 1,000 survivors. In Jinggangshan, Mao established a revolutionary base, implementing land reforms, education initiatives, and military discipline, integrating bandits into his ranks. His leadership attracted loyal followers despite challenges. In spring 1928, Mao's forces, ordered to southern Hunan by the Central Committee, suffered losses but eventually regained strength through guerrilla tactics, uniting with Zhu Dai's regiment. During the Second Sino-Japanese War, 1937 to 1945, the CCP and KMT formed a temporary alliance under the Second Unified Front, pausing their civil war. In 1944, the U.S. launched the Dixie Mission to assess the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP. Impressed by the CCP's unity, determination against Japan, and popular support compared to the faltering Kuomintang, or KMT, American reports highlighted these strengths. However, as World War II ended, the U.S. backed Chiang Kai-shek and the KMT, abandoning their coalition ideas with the CCP. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union supported Mao Zedong covertly and occupied northeastern China in 1946, aiding the CCP. By 1948, the Civil War intensified, culminating in brutal battles like the Siege of Chongchun, causing immense civilian casualties. In January 1949, Mao's forces decisively defeated the KMT, leading to the founding of the People's Republic of China on October 1, 1949. By December, the PLA captured the KMT's last strongholds on mainland China. Chiang Kai-shek fled to Taiwan, and the CCP established control over mainland China, marking the end of the Dixie Mission's potential for U.S.-CCP collaboration. Mao Zedong solidified his control over China with a series of ruthless campaigns. The Land Reform Campaign targeted landlords, while the campaign to suppress counter-revolutionaries eliminated perceived threats to his regime. The 3 anti- and 5 anti-campaigns further rooted out corruption and dissent. These efforts, coupled with a truce in the Korean War, resulted in the deaths of several million Chinese citizens, cementing Mao's authority through fear and force. In 1958, Mao embarked on the Great Leap Forward, a radical initiative to rapidly transform China's economy from agrarian to industrial. The result was catastrophic, triggering the Great Chinese Famine and causing the deaths of an estimated 15 to 55 million people between 1958 and 1962. Undeterred, Mao launched the Socialist Education Movement in 1963, and 3 years later, the Cultural Revolution. This decade-long campaign aimed to purge counter-revolutionary elements from society, leading to violent class struggles, widespread destruction of cultural artifacts, and the persecution of tens of millions. The death toll from the Cultural Revolution ranges from hundreds of thousands to millions. Under his rule, China's population surged from around 550 million to over 900 million, even as family planning policies were loosely enforced. Mao's era was marked by significant involvement in Asian communist conflicts, including the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and the Cambodian Civil War. Mao's military writings continue to influence insurgencies and counterinsurgency efforts worldwide, particularly his theories on guerrilla and mobile warfare. His strategies were successfully applied during the Korean War, where he managed to encircle, push back, and halt UN forces, despite their superior firepower. Mao's concept of people's war and his contributions to military science remain pivotal, inspiring groups like the Nepali Maoists and shaping modern military tactics. In 1957, Mao's audacious rhetoric even suggested a grim willingness to consider the possibility of a nuclear war. Mao advanced policies that promoted literacy, women's rights, healthcare, education, and raised life expectancy. Ironically, for a man who supported women's rights, Mao was known for his love for young teenage girls, having numerous teenage concubines. Notable among which was his sexual relationship with Chen Luin, a self-described imperial concubine who was 14 at the time when her sexual relations began with Mao, who was then 68. Even more disturbing than this was Mao's terrible personal hygiene. According to Dr. Li Jisui, his personal physician for over 22 years, he refused to brush his teeth, insisting that the tea which he swished around his mouth did the trick. His rationale for this was that the tiger never brushes its teeth. Mao's teeth were so covered in plaque that it appeared to be coated in green paint. His gums were so infected that they oozed pus. Mao was the carrier of the parasitic STD, Trichomonas vaginalis, infecting several women with it. However, the women whom he infected saw it as a badge of honor and a testament to their close relationship with Mao. On one occasion, while Mao was being interviewed by a female reporter, he reached into his underwear to pick lice off his body. He also considered bathing a waste of time. According to Li, Mao's genitals were never cleaned. Instead, the dictator claimed to wash himself inside the bodies of his women. Mao Zedong's final years were marked by declining health, worsened by heavy smoking. His government kept his illness largely secret, though it was known he suffered from severe lung and heart conditions, possibly compounded by Parkinson's disease and amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. His last public appearance was in May 1976, meeting with Pakistani Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. After suffering multiple heart attacks, Mao became incapacitated, passing away on September 9, 1976 at the age of 82. Despite controversies, Mao remains one of the 20th century's most influential figures. His policies, blamed for 40 to 80 million deaths, included famine, persecution, and executions, yet he transformed China into a global power. Mao's legacy continues to shape China's history and global role, embodying a complex and enduring impact.